Hey guys, it's Dr. Matt. I'm here to do a sharpening video, but my sharpening video today is going to be about knives. For some of you that have tuned in that haven't seen any of my other content on my channel, I mostly do razor stuff, but every once in a while I'll do knife stuff. I mean, many years ago, over 10 years ago, I started with knives and then I got into razors. Now, more lately, the last couple of years, I've been kind of back into knives doing some stuff. But the purpose of the video today is I wanted to talk about a stone that I've come across and that I've been using lately for my knives that I have found to be pretty much an all-purpose, do-it-all stone. And really, it's the only stone you need to keep your knives sharp. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you how I use this stone, and I'll have two different scenarios. I'll do two different knives, and it'll make sense when I get there. But the stone that I wanted to tell you, this is, for some of you that know, this is better known as the green brick. It's a nano stone. It's an forgive me if I butcher this, an Oitoshi stone. This stone is approximately 3 by 8. But the thing is, it's over 2 inches thick. This is a magnificent stone for knives. I guess you could use it for razors, but it's a 2K stone, okay? And I have found that I can take my knives, the knives that I keep in my rotation, this is the only stone that I need, okay? And I'll show you how I do it. But some things about the stone that really make it great. Number one, as far as the feel of the stone. When you're sharpening the stone, it feels like velvet when you're using it. It's a really, really great feel as far as how it's used. Probably one of the biggest benefits of it is just purely the size of the stone. Like I said, it's 2 1/4 inches thick. Now, if you take that compared to a normal sharpening stone, this is a Sharpen 2K stone. This is a 1/2 inch thick. This is 2 1/4. So this stone is approximately, what is that, 4 1/2 of these? This stone costs $60. This stone costs $80. Do the math. It's a fraction of the cost when it comes down to it. But also, this stone will last forever. I don't think anyone in their lifetime, regardless of how many knives they sharpen, could ever wear this thing down. So yeah, it's a one stone does it all. And now I know that there's people that are heavily into the whole knife thing, and some of you guys, you know, you need 16 stones for all of your stuff, but I'm kind of a minimalist and I like to keep it to as little work as I have to do. So I'll tell you what, let's go for that first knife, and I'll show you how I go about using this stone. Okay, so the knife that I'm going to sharpen is a knife that's out of my stable. I have I don't know if you saw the picture of the block of knives that I have there, but I keep them on my counter. This is a Harukaze. I've done videos with, it seems like all of my really nice Japanese knives are the Harukazes, which, by the way, is pretty much a house brand at Chef Knives To Go. They're made in Japan, and they're pretty much made for them. But this is a really nice a petty knife. It's 150 millimeter. Now, you did see me sharpen, make another video sharpening another petty knife, pretty much the same size, and it was this one here, but it's stainless, also a Harukaze. But this one, the beauty of this is it's carbon steel. It has a carbon steel core, stainless cladding. It's hammer forged, 3 millimeter thickness. This is a really beautiful, well-performing knife. I mean, probably the best one that I have. This particular knife, for me, I can cut anything and everything I can do with this. About the only thing that I can't cut with this is a turkey breast. It's just not long enough. If I had a longer one, or maybe I'll get another knife that's longer, but everything else, I can carve pretty much anything up with this knife. I love this knife, from vegetables to meat to, you know, fairly mid-sized roasts, anything. Beautiful knife. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my lapping plate. This is an Atoma 400, and I'm going to not only lap, but I'm going to create some slurry on this stone. The slurry helps with cutting speed, but also it keeps it flat. You know, if you're using the stone, I like to lap every time I use it. So So let's get started on this. Like I said, this knife. This actually right now is the factory edge. I got this knife, I don't know, 3 months ago, and it's about time that it needs to be sharpened. So it's not in terrible shape, but the feel of this stone is magnificent. I mean, it definitely has cutting power. I'm feeling for the burr. Definitely there. I always do a leading stroke on when I flip it over to wear that burr down, instead of, if you pull back, I feel it just flips the burr back the other way. Now I can go back and forth. As far as the angle that I'm using on this, it's about 15 degrees. I was watching Mark Richmond sharpen some knives. It's funny because he said, he says, I do all my knives the same because I don't have different angles because they're all just like this. I think he said it was about 15, which I think is a fair angle. If I'm doing a knife that's really not a great knife or great steel that can't hold an edge, 15 might be a little steep. So I'll try and fatten up that angle, hold it up a little higher. Maybe go up to 18, possibly 20 degrees. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. All right, what I'll do here is I'm going to rinse the slurry off. It's kind of like a two-step with the slurry. Now without the slurry, it's... All right, finish with trailing passes. Refines the edge, also will remove any burr formation. Well, actually the leading removes burr. This refines and helps with the burr as well. Whew. That's it. That thing's sharpened. Now I like to do another step. Let's see if I can swing this around. Hey, how about that? Okay, so this is the Chef Knives to Go stropping kit. This is a piece of balsa wood. On this balsa wood I have 1 micron CBN. You can use 2 micron, half micron, but this is just a final finishing touch. And this particular stropping kit comes with, it's 3 pieces. It has the base, this metal base. It has the piece of balsa wood with a magnet that sticks to that. And I put the CBN on there. You can put the diamond paste on there. Whatever you like. I don't know, maybe a dozen. trailing passes. I wipe it down with a cloth. And then I finish on the leather. Comes with the leather, has a magnet on it too, but I just lay it on top of there. There's not much resistance. That is stupid sharp. Oh my God. And that's it. That's all it takes. That took from a knife. That was the knife that was kind of worn, you know, just from using it. Took it to the 2K, and that's all it takes, you know. This is phenomenal. Knife number 2. This is a different scenario here. This is a knife that someone gave me. Actually, it was my office manager. This is a Henkel. Henkels have good knives. They also have knives that are on the cheaper end. They have different lines of them. This particular one, I believe, is on the cheaper end, because as I look at it on the badge here, I'm sure you can't see that, but it says it was made in Spain. Versus, I have a set here. These are the harder ones, or the better. First off, they're made in Germany, and they're, what do they call them? Ice hardened. Definitely just harder steel. The point that I'm making on this is this particular knife, when I first received it, when the first time I did it several years ago, I looked at the edge, and I don't know if you can see this from there, but the edge on this thing looks like a saw blade. It's super toothy. The first time I saw this, I asked her, I said, well, were you cutting copper wire with this thing or something? But it's just that the steel on there is not great, and it just tends to break down. So what I'm saying here is, if you get knives, if you sharpen, you're going to sharpen someone else's knife. If you use this stone and you sharpen it for someone, they're going to want you to sharpen their knives for life. But if you get knives from other people and they're beat up, or even if you get a new knife and say it has a 20-degree bevel angle on there, and you want to reprofile it down to 15, you're going to need more than the 2K stone. So if you have something that needs work and you have to reprofile it or recreate the edge, like on this one here, you're going to need more than the 2K. Now this particular, what I'm using here is the 400 diamond plate, the Atoma diamond plate. This is the one I used to lap the stone just a minute ago. Now, Chef Knives To Go has a line of their own diamond plates. They have a diamond plate that's 400 on one side, 1,000 on the other. It's definitely more economical than this particular stone. I think these Atomas are $100 each. They have one for $30, which is a 400 and 1,000. I don't have that one, only because I have the Atoma and I've used this for years and I didn't need to get another diamond plate. So anyway, that's an option for you. I understand that they work really well. I read the reviews on their site for that particular diamond plate, and did I say they're $30? It's like a third of the cost of this, so, or less. Anyway, what we have to do is we have to recreate this, and the 400 diamond is going to be the way to go on this. So what I'm going to do here, and it's something that I wouldn't normally do on a really good knife, is I'm just going to bread knife it to get rid of all of that toothiness. I know some of you are cringing. I can hear you cringe on that. All right. It looks like it's all pretty much gone, maybe a little at the tip. Okay, so what we're going to do is just get to work on this. And just work it until it raises a burr. You need this diamond cutting power to break through that stuff. And I am leaning on this. There's no weight of the blade here. Just be careful with your fingers so you don't get finger locked. Don't really press too hard on that part, or else your fingers will just lock up on you for a couple of days. I mean, this knife is actually decent when it has an edge. It just doesn't have the edge retention and tends to break down. All right. I can feel the burr pretty much all along. I don't know if you can tell, but when you get to the end here where this tip comes up like this, you have to raise the knife to get to that part. See how high I have that compared to down here? Okay. Yep, all along. Okay, so now that we got the burr, I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna knock that burr off, leading. And what happens when you create that burr is the metal just comes up. It just folds up like this. I have a picture of it on the microscope. That thing just comes up. So when you try and knock it down, say if the burr were coming up this way, when you flip it over the other way, that's why I do a leading stroke to wear that burr off so it doesn't just flip over the other way. All right, now we'll raise the burr on this side. Yep. It always seems that the burr comes up easier on the second side. I don't know why that is, but it always seems to. So now we got to wear that burr down. So just, again, leading. There we go. And now we're just going to alternate. And that's a decent edge. I mean, there's people that would be totally okay with a 400 diamond plate edge. It is fairly toothy. I mean, not toothy like before, but it has some bite to it. Some people like that, which is fine. I think for kitchen knives, I like to be 2000. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to look at that edge, and what I have here is this light, LEDs, this microscope, or magnifying. I got it on Amazon. It's relatively cheap. It has 2 different lighting types. That's both. And I just want to take a look at that, make sure that all those teeth marks are gone. Oh yeah. All right, that looks good. Okay, so let's take and mount the nano of the green brick. We're going to take the same 400 diamond lap, so it's doing double duty here. Create a nice slurry. A nice slurry will help to bridge the gap between the 400 and the 2000 stone. And basically we just do it again. I don't know if you can see the swarf on the stone, but this thing cuts fast. That stone's pretty black from the metal wearing off. So it does cut fast, but it leaves a nice smooth edge. I'm feeling for a burr here. Very mild, which is perfect. Again, leading, get rid of that burr. All right. So what we're doing here is we are refining the 400 diamond scratches on there. Oop. Got that tip in there. What I want to do here is I just want to lap it again to get some of that swarf off the stone before I do the finishing passes. Very nice. And here we'll finish off with trailing, or stropping passes as some people call it. One thing I wanted to say here is that just from feeling the edge with my thumb like that, I can tell a huge difference between this steel and the Harukaze, the other petty with the steel core. Carbon steel, there's nothing like that on a knife. Those, in my opinion, by far the best knives are the carbon steel ones. Give the best edges. All right, so let's finish this off over here. It's still nice considering the quality of the steel. It's still a decent edge. This is just plain leather. Some people put a compound on the leather. They'll put some of the diamond paste on the leather. You can do that too. I just go for all right, pretty nice. All right, that's it for the sharpening. There is one other thing that I wanted to cover, and that is maintaining the edge. And I consider maintenance of the edge what you do in between actually taking them to the stones. And how often you take them to the stones is going to be personal preference, how often you use your knives. But yeah, as far as what you do in between. And probably the best thing to do would be the stropping kit. All right, the balsa with the compound on it and the leather. But to be honest, in my situation, I keep this in another room. In my kitchen here, I have this block with my knives in it. And what I use, and I use it actually frequently, is I use the ceramic honing rod. There's metal ones. I know there's people there's metal and then there's ceramic. I prefer the ceramic, personal preference. I think it does a little bit better job of abrading the metal and keeping the edge, but again, that's personal preference. And you know, simply just a few of those. Half a dozen passes on there, and it brings the edge right up. What I was going to say about this is you won't be able to keep the edge forever using one of these, or even the stropping kit, because what happens is that edge over time from using the rod, or even the, you know, that edge just kind of starts to come down on itself, then you need to take it to the stones to recreate the edge. But one thing on the on this particular ceramic rod is you will get metal that builds up on the rod. You'll see the little like black streaks on there. And Chef Knives To Go has this. This is really cool. It's pretty much just like a pencil eraser. This thing's kind of spongy, just like an eraser. And you just rub it on there, and all that black stuff comes off. So every once in a while you do this to maintain your maintenance rod. Yeah, so that's the thing on the Chef Knives To Go. So yeah, that's it. I thought this was something that was really cool as far as the one stone for maintaining your knives, which is the Nanoa, the green brick. Great bang for buck. Pretty much everything that I used in the video is going to be on my Chef Knives To Go webpage, from the sink bridge. I talked about this once before. This is great. Very fair price. To the stone, to the stropping kit. 3-piece stropping kit with the paste. There's a diamond paste that comes with it. The diamond, the lapping plate. This is an Atoma lapping plate, but Chef Knives To Go also has their own. The stone holder that I use for that. This badass right here. The Murado stone, or the Murado knife. This is the petty knife. The carbon steel, the Elgami blue is what that steel's called in there, with the stainless cladding. And one thing I did want to mention, for a long time I was hesitant about the steel core, only due to maintenance and potentially them rusting. And what I do, and I don't have any rust on my knives, is obviously when you're done you wipe them down. But what I do is I'll do some palm strops. Get some of that oil off your hand. Just do, you know, a few of these both ways, and then I just take it and put it right back in the block, and I don't get any rust on them. Granted, I do live in a dry climate, but you do, as far as the steel core, they're a little bit more. You have to watch them a little bit more than the stainless. But that's it, guys. That was awesome. I appreciate you tuning in for the whole thing. If you made it to the end, if you have any questions, email me, drmatt1911@gmail.com. I'm going to have links down below to my Chef Knives To Go webpage. It's going to have all of this stuff on it. You guys have a great day. Have a good night. Keep your knives sharp, and we'll see you real soon.